love coming here in the morning. It's just like being on a nice country road.
Woodland is a natural textbook of Dayton history.
This is one of the finest arboretums in the state.
Until the 1930s, an observation tower stood here on one of the highest points in the city. The tower is gone, but below the rugged hills of Woodland Cemetery, the scene of Dayton's skyline surpasses the dreams of one man more than a century ago. On June 27, 1801, John Whitten Van Cleve became the first male child born in the small town of Dayton, Ohio. His father, Benjamin Van Cleve, was one of 4 pioneers who had founded the settlement called Dayton. John inherited his father's enthusiasm for civic improvement and foresaw the inevitable growth of the small river village. He recognized that Dayton was already outgrowing its first cemetery at the corner of 3rd and Main Streets. Van Cleve's diaries reveal his vision of a permanent cemetery, governed by a board of directors and large enough to handle the growing town. In 1841, a deed was received from Augustus George for 40 acres southeast of Dayton. 1 year later, a state charter officially recognized Woodland Cemetery as a non-profit organization. The hills were covered by a dense forest of trees. Only a creative eye could discern its potential as an ideal cemetery. By careful removal and sale of surplus timber, the Cemetery Association raised their endowment. The first interment at Woodland was made July 11, 1843, when Allen Cullum was buried near the center of the cemetery. In 1887, the gateway, chapel, and office were completed. Constructed of gray and red limestone, the Romanesque architecture reflects the popular style of the period. Today, the buildings are listed on the National Register of Historic Places. A signed Tiffany window in the chapel is one of the finest in the country. Before the turn of the century, Dayton residents often used Woodland Cemetery as a park. Groups of Victorian ladies could be seen strolling around the ponds on warm Sunday afternoons. In 1909, a tunnel was built under what is now Stewart Street, connecting a new tract of land with the original grounds. Faced with a manpower shortage during World War II, the cemetery employed 400 sheep to keep the grass mowed. Unfortunately, they proved to be undependable workers. When the original 40 acres were purchased, the site was regarded as being so remote that the town would never reach the boundaries of Woodland Cemetery. Today, Woodland's 200 acres are a peaceful island near the heart of Dayton's urban expanse. Recorded here are the chronicles of the city, the devastating flood of 1913, an influenza epidemic in 1918. Marked in stone is the heritage of families who forged a town out of the wilderness, immigrants who pledged loyalty to their new country, and settlers whose monuments are so old that time has worn away the record of their history. Other monuments celebrate the victories of Revolutionary War soldiers, inventors, and poets.
Lay me down beneath the willows in the grass, where the branch will go a-singing as it pass. And when eyes are lying low, I can hear it as it go, singing, sleep, my honey, take your rest at last.